Marcellus, get us rolling.
Yeah.
What should LSU do about Odell Beckham Jr.?
What should happen in this episode of Dumb and Dumber, which is just dumb to slap a security guard on his butt, and it's dumber to even bring up criminal charges for that same slap. You should take notice of what the NFL is doing in this approach with AB, which is slow is the way to go. Let something else, let the system, judicial system in AB's case or the NCAA in LSU's case, actually set the ruling before you actually go out there and set the ruling. Remember when you're trying to team build in LSU in this perfect season, would deem everything outside that team, those players, as outside noise. That includes Odell Beckham in this situation right now. That's outside noise. He didn't have impact on the game. He's not a teammate. And these guys are in a world that's going to change if they achieve their goals. The rules will change. Everything that we are now criticizing will turn and flip into being something that is perfectly fine, legal, and ethical. But right now, there's no message that's going to be learned by you being fast to a judgment or penalty on Odell. And it's nothing that these players are going to be able to absorb because they're in a different world than Odell. So just because of those circumstances, I just say pause for the cause.
When this comes to Odell, I do not believe that LSU should disassociate themselves with OBJ. He does need a stern talking to. He has to understand that he can't put LSU in compromising situations with his behavior. And what he did on Monday night of that game, he certainly did that. But he is too valuable to the university, to the football program, as a recruiting tool to completely ostracize him from the program. When you go to these high school football camps and you talk to young wide receivers, OBJ is the guy that they aspire to be. He is the one that they look up to. So you still have to have him around the program. You still want to benefit from his hero status, his icon status, but he has to know that he can't put the bigger brand in jeopardy.
I would say this. If I was LSU, I would have a meeting with Odell Beckham Jr. and the powers that be at LSU and say, if you act like a moron, and that's what you acted like on Monday night, then you're not going to be allowed to be around our program. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. We want you to be a part of our program, but if you're going to act like a fool and you've got that kind of, I mean, to me, the premeditated portion of putting a stack of high society in your pocket and traveling around to get yourself your attention, because that's what that is, that to me is wrong. If you want to celebrate with those kids and celebrate a championship, I don't have a problem with you celebrating a championship, but that was celebrating your brand. And I strongly feel that that's what went down there. So I would have to have a conversation with him. If you want to act like an adult, you want to be a great role model, and you want to help these kids get to the next level, I'm all for that. But, hey, listen, just because there are problems with the structure of the NCAA, and there are plenty of problems with that, that does not make what he did right. It's not. And so those are the conversations I would have, because I'm with you. Man, you say whatever you want. Kids aspire to him. Kids, I mean, they gravitate to him.
Kids
Whatever.
aspire to a lot of things.
Well, I understand that. But
a lot of things that aren't good for. I want to go a cut deeper on why this is serious and why this is the state of Louisiana and people in power. They're taking action against Odell Beckham Jr. You can blame the security guard all you want. It ain't him. This man has put everybody in jeopardy. We all know the deal with big-time elite sports. We know it all the way down to the Mid-American Conference level where I played at. People help these kids in ways that they can. And there are people that really had something to do with that great LSU team and what they accomplished, and they don't want the NCAA nosing around, asking a bunch of questions that may create a trail to them. Because people have gone to jail recently over this. The Adidas trial. Prosecutors have used these NCAA rules to come up with some bogus charges to make people felons over violating NCAA amateurism rules. OBJ, in his stupidity, has put a lot of people in jeopardy, and that's why they need to disassociate. He's not bigger than LSU. He's not so important to LSU football that they can't survive without him. They have far more wealthier alums. They have far more people responsible for the recruits and the players that they have. What you don't want to set off is what he has set off. A bunch of NCAA people and the media and everybody else. Well, let's go through LSU with a fine-tooth comb. There are people in power there in Louisiana that invested in this team and in this program that don't want any parts of that. And this dude, we can't just look the other way because this dude is this irresponsible, this self-absorbed, this stupid.
Yeah, shame on you, OBJ, for your selfishness, for now shining a light on all the illegalities that we're actually committing down here right now. We just want to keep the status quo, which is, hey, OBJ, you're bringing the feds down here. Look, OBJ is guilty of this. As we say in the locker room, he was on one. He got lost in the sauce. Whatever he was doing, he went way to the nth degree. But it's funny when we talk about him and his self-serving nature and attention-seeking, that not a lot of headlines are being made of him equipping the entire team with headphones the legal way. The right way. He sent out Beats by Dre's $350 values to everybody LSU affiliated. And then he got in the moment and realized they were doing something that he's never seen before, and that's his family. And he went overboard. Guilty, guilty, guilty. But this whole notion that OBJ is going to be held to a standard that people in normal society are not going to be held to, this whole role model versus influencers, that's absurd. Because we used to say yesterday's athletes were role models. They were just mislabeled. They were just underserved and underpaid influencers at the time that didn't have the platform properly like an OBJ does right now. OBJ shouldn't be held to any higher standard than we are, than your neighbors are. And it's funny when we see an athlete get in trouble, we blow it up out of proportion. Even though all the statistics say that your neighbor or you is 4 times more criminal than any pro athlete ever is.
This isn't about criminality,
Marcellus. We're talking
this is about LSU.
Didn't he just get charged?
Again, that's a small detail. This man has caused his university a major headache. They work in the NCAA system whether we like it or not. I've got years invested in pointing out the fraudulence and doing major journalism on the fraudulence of amateurism. I'm against amateurism. This ain't the way to go about it.
I didn't say it was.
This isn't a fact.
I didn't say it was.
Nobody should ever want to be this kind of a headache to their alma mater or their football team. And you can't, Ed Orgeron, none of the people involved with LSU that actually put the work in are happy today. That we're talking about OBJ, that we're talking about NCAA investigation, that they're doing an investigation. Who wants this? Nobody does.
Look.
So, I mean, and it's all in pursuit of being an influencer.
Okay, since I thought you were going to go, Bucky, you're making this bigger than it is right now. A headache can go away. This situation can go away. You don't know what the ruling is. Right now, there's a criminal charge. If I'm OBJ, that's a headache for me. That's a major thing to deal with. It could be 6 months of jail for what OBJ was charged with and a $1,000 fine. What LSU is investigating could come back to be a slap on the wrist. Then what's the conversation? We don't know that, but we have to go through that process. That's why I started off my argument saying slow play this situation.
But let's say it's a slap on the wrist, that's the penalty. I don't want a slap on the wrist because OBJ did something stupid. I don't want to be holding a bunch of meeting with NCAA investigators because OBJ did something stupid that everybody knows you don't do. If he had done something unintentionally, I would get it.
Here's the deal for me. Like, I had talked about this. I got a lot of pushback about taking the shine off the kids who put in the work, off the coaches who put in the work. You take off the shine and you make it about you. And people like those kids were celebrating with him. That's fine. You're still getting shine to you. But now you've put shine to the organization, to LSU. We should be talking about how great a football team this was.
We can
how
still,
great.
you know.
I know. We have that choice.
We have that choice.
But you know what's in the news cycle?
Yeah, and we didn't write the news cycle.
Right.
Oh, we don't?
He didn't.
Well, it's interesting what we choose to be focused on in the news cycle.
Right. You're 100%. You're 100% right on that.
Yeah.
But you know what? When it's $100 bills that you know that's not appropriate, and then it's a slap on the butt of a security guard. Like, I don't care if it's a security guard or police officer. I don't care who it is. You're not allowed to put your hands on people. And we did things in a locker room environment, that completely inappropriate. All of us did. Because that's the locker room environment. But you know what? When I walk out of that locker room environment, I don't take it to the grocery store with me. I don't.
Yeah.
Because I know better.
But no,
So I'm just saying, be an adult. And
he does have to be an adult. Like,
right.
look, there's a level of immaturity that is around OBJ that none of us would appreciate. Right. And I would say, though, LSU can't necessarily have it both ways. They can't celebrate one of the biggest football stars, celebrities that the program has produced, and then have him cast to the side. What he did was stupid and irresponsible. Everyone can sit here and admit that.
Yes.
However, LSU cannot completely separate themselves from it because they've also benefited from his stardom. They benefited from his relationship with Nike. As you talked about him outfitting them with Beats, they also wore OBJ cleats that night.
And
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.